Hi everybody, this morning we're going to be making scones. Now the prep today is based on commercial comparison. So I also have a purchased scone from Baker's Delight, and at the end of the prep you can do a comparison between your homemade scone and the purchased scone in regard to sensory analysis. Now before you begin, make sure that you have on your clean apron, you've washed your hands for 20 seconds, your hair is up, your jewellery is removed because you'll be getting your hands into the flour. And also you need to have clean tea towels and dishcloths. Also make sure you have your equipment out and all your ingredients out before you begin so that you're organised and you're ready to go. You need to have a large bowl and your sifter and a cup measurement, and you need 2 cups of self-raising flour. So make sure you tap to get air pockets out and scrape it off when you're measuring. Next, you need 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and we sift that through. Sifting aerates the flour and also removes lumps, so that will help keep your scones nice and light and airy. You need 20 grams of butter. I've already weighed mine out, or 1 tablespoon. Just place it in, and we're going to rub it in. With the rubbing in method, you're just using your fingertips and you're lifting it up and dropping it so that you aerate the flour at the same time. You do this until you can't feel any more lumps of butter and the flour is coated with the butter. In addition, I also turn the bowl as I do it, and I get right down to the bottom of the bowl as well, so every bit of flour at the bottom also gets some butter on it. If you have a look at my hands, you can see it's just my fingertips have flour on it and not the palms. The palms are hot and that will melt the butter, so you want to try and keep it cool. Once you've done that, you can add the milk all at once. I have 250 ml of milk, and that can just go all straight in. And then just with a butter knife, you just stir that to bring it together. Now the secret of a good scone is to not overmix the dough. Tip your dough out onto the bench. If your dough is really sticky, you might need a little bit of extra flour onto your bench first. Mine's not, so I'm just going to bring it together. Put your sleeves up, bring it all together, and you need to fold it or knead it only 6 to 10 times. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to bring all those loose bits in and put it in the middle. 8, 9, 10. Okay, I'm not going to do it any more than that. I'm just going to bring it together and roll it out. Any of those loose pieces, I'm just going to pop in the rubbish bin. And I'm just going to roll it out like that. Now with the scone dough, you don't want to roll it out too thin. So about 2 centimetres in thickness is good. If you don't have a rolling pin, an oil spray can will do instead. Now I'm going to use this cutter for my scones, or if you don't have a cutter, just an upturned glass. You might just need to put a little bit of flour on it, and then you can just use that to cut. That nice sharp edge works really well. Okay, or a cutter. So cut out your scones, and they need to go onto a baking tray with some baking paper. Do that and use up all your dough. Bring it together, cut it out, and keep going till it's all used up. When you bring the dough back together, just give it a light knead, but again, not over knead it because you don't want any gluten to develop. You want to keep it nice and light. Roll it out again and cut again. When you finish cutting, just scrape the flour and clear that bench before you put your baking tray in that space. You don't want to forget flour underneath your baking tray. Then with a brush and some milk, just glaze the top. That will help make the scones go a nice golden brown. It's called dextrinisation. And into the oven for 12 to 15 minutes. So make sure you set your timer, and while that's cooking, you can whip your cream and get your jam ready. To whip the cream, I've got half a cup of cream in my measuring jug, and I'm going to use these beater whiskers while I'm doing it. But these beaters are absolutely fine and will do the same job. I'm also going to add just a little bit of vanilla bean paste. This is totally up to you if you want to do that. You can leave it out. You could also add a teaspoon of sugar if you would like to make your cream a bit sweeter. Just in, and this will only take about 1 minute in this kind of jug. Okay, you can see my cream is whipped now, and be very, very careful you don't overbeat it because it will turn to butter quite quickly. Release the beaters, give them a tap to get the cream off, and you're good to go. My scones have just come out of the oven and they look quite amazing. So I'm going to just put one on the plate ready to try in just a moment and put these aside to cool down. I'm also just going to warm up the commercial one from Baker's Delight because obviously scones are nice when they're hot, but also as a comparison, it's nice to do both the same. So when you're describing appearance, make sure you have a look obviously at the shape and the size, and you can describe those too, the colour of the surface and also the texture. You can see the Baker's Delight one is much smoother than my homemade one, which is much rougher. Okay, then if you cut them in half, you can see the differences in the texture as well. Just do that and that one. Already I can feel the crust on mine is a lot crunchier and the Baker's Delight one is a lot softer. Mine's also more dense and the Baker's Delight one seems a bit more airy. When you're doing a taste comparison, taste them both without jam and cream on them so that you can get the taste of just the scone. I'm guessing that the Baker's Delight one will probably have sugar in it, so it'll probably be sweeter than the homemade one. When you make the homemade one, you can put in sugar if you wish. Okay, then also think about the texture. Is it soft, chewy, hard, crunchy? Is the outside crunchy and the middle soft? Really describe those differences. And then, of course, the aroma as well. It's going to be hard to detect because they obviously both smell similar, but what do they smell like? Try and really decide that. Okay, once you've done that and you've written out your sensory analysis, then put jam and cream on and enjoy. I'm using my mum's homemade jam. There's a strawberry and rhubarb or just a plain strawberry. I love the strawberry and rhubarb, so I'm going to use that one. Now, a lot of people argue about whether you do the jam or the cream first, but for me, it's jam first all the way and then the cream on top because I don't know how you can't spread the jam if the cream's there first. Be generous. Make a cup of tea or a coffee to have with it and share these with your family because they're delicious. Okay, so fresh jam and cream, they are so quick and easy to make. No reason why you can't do it all the time. Have a great day, everyone, and happy cooking.